So last for the show today, Ben, we're going to look at some NFL Super Bowl odds that have come out for our different teams. So let's cue this up here. And take a quick look.
A lot of people look forward to this, man. Super Bowl odds. People will go to Vegas and lay their money down before the season even starts.
Now, I'm assuming here that we're going in terms of the odds, but I'm not quite sure how Baltimore comes in at 2 with a 13-2 odds as opposed to San Fran with a 7-1. But obviously, Kansas City looks to be the favorite at 4-1 odds.
Yeah, no doubt about it. This we'll have to talk to our gambling advisors to explain that to us. But evidently, 13-2 is a little tougher than 7-1. We'll put it that way. Or a lot of, or actually closer than 7-1 odds. 13-2 odds is, I think I'm saying that right. But anyway.
Yeah, when you look at this, Kansas City, Baltimore, that sounds, sounds about right. San Fran is still up there. The Saints at 11-1 odds. Dallas and Tampa Bay. Look where Tampa Bay is. Right up there with Dallas at 12-1 odds now, thanks to the new addition quarterback of Mr. Tom Brady there. Just changed everything.
Yeah, but for all the noise that people are making about Tampa Bay and Tom Brady, you see Dak Prescott above them. So what do you think about that?
Well, they got that new wide receiver. They had a nice draft. And that might be one of the reasons, although, I mean, let's face it, that Tampa Bay receiving core is loaded.
That's true. And I'm sure a lot of people are banking on the fact that Tom Brady still got plenty left, and he's going to have a receiving core that's far better than anyone he's had in quite a while. And he's still been successful. So, yeah, I can understand why Tampa Bay is where they are. I'm just saying, for as much talk as there is about Tampa Bay, there doesn't seem to be that much talk about Dallas, yet Dallas is sitting right there 12-1 right with them.
I would probably hazard a guess that it might be because the defense is probably not considered as good as Dallas's defense. So if there was anything tipping the scales in Dallas's favor, I would think it was the defense. But they're both at exactly the same odds, 12-1. So not really a difference. They're just, that's like when we're looking at some of our differentials and, you got the same numbers. Sometimes 13 and 14 are the same, they have the same differential, and one's just maybe, alphabetically different. But they're right there, 12-1 odds. Seattle's coming in with the Eagles at 17-1. So that was an interesting game last year when Seattle came into Philadelphia and was able to win that game. Green Bay is probably about where Green Bay should be at 18-1. A playoff team, a team that went to the NFC Championship. So we'll have to see.
They didn't have a great draft, supposedly.
Right. Good point.
Now, we're down to Green Bay, so let's go back up to the top for a second. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's like the top 10 we just went over, right? Or at least the top 9.
Did you notice? Approximately.
Did you notice the top 2 are AFC teams, and everybody else, all the way down to Green Bay at number 9 or 10, is an NFC team?
Was it last year that we thought the NFC was stronger, or the year before that? I know when we were looking at net points, I believe that
point-wise, I forget exactly what we said. I think I was pretty much under the assumption that the NFC was stronger overall, that a playoff run through the NFC would be tougher?
When I look at the differentials coming off of last year in the AFC, your positive differentials, Ravens, Patriots, Chiefs, Titans, and Bills. Everybody else was in the negative. So you had 5 in the positive, but your positive numbers were pretty high because the Ravens were plus 249, the Patriots were plus 195. When you go to the NFC, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 deep on
Right.
the positive side.
Right.
But the numbers weren't quite as impressive. San Fran was right up there it is number 1 at plus 169. They were higher, but then they fell off in the second half of the season, as I remember. So that might be why we had that concept or that idea.
Yeah, I believe that is exactly why we had that idea, or a big part of it, that the run through the NFC would be a tougher playoff run overall than the run through the AFC. In the AFC, you knew you had to beat a Houston or Tennessee, as opposed to in the NFC, you knew you had to beat a Seattle or New Orleans. You see?
Yeah.
There's a difference there. So yeah, I would agree with that. And it kind of looks like they're expecting it to be that way again.
But now once you get to New England, you got 220-1 odds in the AFC at New England and Buffalo. Then you've got Pittsburgh and Indianapolis along with the Rams with 25-1 odds. And then finishing out, that is the Chargers.
That's actually the Chargers. Yeah.
25-1.
I find
Chargers
that surprising.
with a better ratio than the Rams. Man, that's craziness. And Minnesota at 28-1 down there with the Rams. So you got the Rams and Minnesota at 28-1, rounding out the first half of the top 16 in terms of Super Bowl odds there. Crazy. And the Minnesota had a pretty decent draft, from what I understand. But they let Diggs go.
Yeah, they did, but they made up for it. They brought in some more receivers, and they still have Thielen, and they still have they still have Thielen. This is the area, the bottom 16, the bottom of the top 16, where just about anything goes. The only surprise I see in that bunch is probably the Colts and the Chargers. I'm a little surprised to see them that high, actually, to tell you the truth. But I'm considering that Vegas is taking into effect the free agent moves and the draft and everything that's taken place up to this point. And they believe that those teams will be up there. I'm not surprised to see Pittsburgh, and I'm not surprised to see Buffalo. I think those teams are contending teams. Let's face it, the Tennessee and Houston are over on the other side there in the lower 16 or the lower half of the league, and they both were playoff contenders. Well, they weren't contenders. They were playoff teams last year.
Yeah. Especially Tennessee went in there and beat the Patriots. So, and now Chicago and Cleveland. Chicago with Nick Foles coming in, and Trubisky, is he still there? Did they let him go?
They didn't. What they did was they're not going to exercise his 5th-year option, so they're going to allow him to stay on the team and play out that last year.
Okay.
And he's basically on a prove it deal now.
Okay.
I mean, they're bringing in competition. Supposedly, it's supposed to be a true competition between him and Foles to see who's going to be the starter. And I think they don't want to give up on Trubisky, but this is the final straw. This is like, dude, you either win this job or you're going to be gone. We're not going to give you a new contract, and we're not going to give you an extension. You have to earn it.
Right.
So if
Right.
he can hold off Foles and produce like a starting quarterback on a good team should, then he'll be okay. And if he can't, then he'll be looking for a new team.
Um, they're 40-1 odds along with the Cleveland Browns, who had a pretty decent draft, and they've got some new leadership now, so it'll be interesting. Denver is the only 50-1 odds team. Then you got 1, 2, 3, 4 60-1s. You got the Texans, the Falcons, your Giants, and the Cardinals. But for the Cardinals, I guess that not being last 32 or close to that is a move up for them. I'm expecting something out of the Cardinals a little bit.
I believe that's a big move up, and I'm sorry that I didn't suggest to you when we were talking about this part of the show that we didn't go back and look at what these Super Bowl odds were before last season began, because I would venture to guess that Denver and Arizona were down there at the bottom, right where Washington and Cincinnati are.
Yeah.
So the fact that their odds got better tells you that, we believe that they're better. Same thing with the Giants. That's just them showing that, yeah, these guys have improved. If you're at the bottom of this list, if you're 200-1 to make the Super Bowl, okay, that's more than an earth-shattering miracle. Okay, I know somebody. When was their last Super Bowl? Do you remember? Because I remember, I know somebody who was a Dallas Cowboys fan that went to Vegas for vacation and laid down a couple $100 on Dallas to win the Super Bowl. And they were somewhere in that 12-1, 17-1 range, and they won. And he got paid.
Got paid big time, eh?
Paid.
All right.
That's not.
Yeah, because I guess what? If Cincinnati, what's that? You put down $1, you win 200. Is that how that works?
That's basically it. That's crazy odds. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Just throw $50 down. What's that?
Yeah, 50 times 200. Throw another 0 on there and a 10. So you'd have like $10,000 or something like that.
People will do it. People will do it.
Hey, look, I mean, if you could just bet $1, you might as well just bet $1 on the bottom half and see, you might get something out of that.
Yeah, I don't know if they have a minimum bet on something like these, but I would put $50 down. I would put $100 down
on who?
Guess what? I bet you there's a ton of people in Tampa Bay right now taking them 12-1 odds. A bunch.
Now, that might be true.
There's still people in New England that'll put money down on that 20-1 to win big money because they don't think they're dead yet.
Let me tell you something. As much as they talked about the Patriots and what they didn't have last year, the Patriots were plus 195 in differential last year. So,
right.
That's what Tom Brady brings along. Now, again, he had a number one defense. In terms of defense, they were pretty much it. Let's see here. In their they only gave up 225 points for the year. That was lowest in the league, and that's what I generally go by. So he had the top defense. That's what he's going to have to deal with. Actually having to win games now sometimes instead of depending on the defense. But that's not bad. What do you think about your New York Giants at 60-1?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to put money down. I'm not going to do that. Okay, but I believe that they will be much improved this year. In fact, I was on Facebook talking to a friend that's also a Giants fan, and this is a female friend, an ex-coworker, and she loves the Giants. I think her big brother was a Giants fan or something, and just kind of brought her up that way. And she was like, "Man, I hope we win some games. I just want to win some games. I just want to be, show improvement." And I said to her, we're going to sweep Washington, and we're going to split with the Eagles.
Okay. Okay. Going to sweep Washington and split with the Eagles.
Split with the Eagles. Now, we might take a L when we play Dallas twice. I don't know. Dallas is much improved. I know people don't want to hear it. You know,
they got receivers now.
If you're an Eagles fan, you don't want to hear it. You're still going, oh, they're not that good. Dallas going to be good.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to be realistic. But if I can split with Philadelphia and I can sweep Washington, who a lot of people are saying it could be coming up a little bit, I'll be happy.
You can't even hurt Dak and feel comfortable nowadays because they got the red rifle.
Now they got Dalton. Exactly. That's you know, that's a nice little insurance policy.
That's not a bad insurance policy at all, man. I mean, that's almost Nick Foles-esque.
Yeah, pretty much. It's going to be interesting to see how this team works under McCarthy.
Yeah.
I've seen him do things with Aaron Rodgers, and I've seen him do things, you know, up there in Green Bay. I'm not going to say he's a great coach, but he comes from a nice tree, and he's a proven winner, and he's got Super Bowl rings. So, you know, Dallas is going to be tough, man. They're going to be tough.
Got your hands full. We all do going into next year. So many different things going on. And then just even in terms of maybe team personalities and how if they were in an empty stadium, for example, and I don't know if these odds take any of that into account, but I'm sure there might be some personalities which do better in an empty stadium or do worse in an empty stadium. You won't find that out until, you know, they start playing.
Yeah, I really don't know if this stadium thing and having people in the stands is going to make a difference or not. I really don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I don't think it'll take long for the guys to get used to it. Look at some of the intensity that comes in these scrimmages that they have now.
Yeah.
You know, one team invites another team to their facility to work out with them all week long. You got guys out there fighting and swinging on each other and all kinds of stuff going on. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. We're going to, as fans watching it on television, it's probably going to bother us more at first than it does them.
Yeah, you might be right about that because we're used to hearing the roar of the crowd and picking up on all of those signals. And
players are locked in. You know, they're locked into what they're doing.
It won't make me in football. I love it. You know, I can sit there and watch the, you know, replays and all of that stuff and hear nothing. And you know,
I'm with you.
It's fine. But, you know, for the average fan, you probably, you know, it's going to be weird. It's going to be a little strange.